Probably going to serve you well, those people that are going through your marathon block and you've got lots of time on legs. This one obviously is going to provide great protection for that. Lots of first impressions review I've got for you guys today is the Hoka Skyward X. So Hoka claims that this one is the plushest ride on the road, and just by looking at it, it's definitely got lots and lots of cushion and it's a real beefy shoe. But before we get into it, massive shout out to my #1 running store, the Running Company at Geelong. I've got a link to their website in the description. Make sure you go check out that and check out all their running gear. And also, if you guys want to support this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Right, so checking out our quick specs here, and now the price that this is coming in at Australia is absolutely ridiculous. So $370. It's not a race shoe, it's a training shoe, and $225 in the US. Now, weight-wise, it's a pretty hefty shoe as well. So Hoka states it's coming in at 320 grams. In my size, it's 295 grams. So it's still around that 10-ounce mark. But yeah, definitely a beefy shoe. Stack height's 48 in the rear, 43 in the front, and that's giving us a 5mm drop. So in the upper here, the material that they're using is what they call a flat knit upper. But this knit material, it's quite soft. It's not overly flexible like a lot of knits are. Breathability is okay, it could be better. We've got a really solid heel cap here, and it's reinforced by some plastic, by a big plastic overlay, as you can see there, with the Skyward X written on it. Padding wise, again, it's not screaming out plushness in the padding department. It's probably just on the medium side. We've got a cool little Achilles flare here, which is quite nice. Now, our tongue is nicely padded though, I will give it that. Lots of padding on the tongue, and surprisingly, this tongue is not gusseted. So when I first looked in it, I thought it was gusseted, but it's just a midfoot strap that's connected to the lacing system in this shoe. But yeah, no gusset on this tongue. Lacing system, pretty standard here. No issues with that. Shoelaces haven't come undone yet. Now the lockdown in this shoe, it's okay. So I'm having a little bit of trouble with one shoe. I've just got to play around with it a bit, but I'm not really concerned about that. There's enough features on this shoe to create a really good lockdown. Now the fit, true to size in the length, and finally Hoka has given me a shoe that is not narrow. So I'm going to say width is normal. I'm not getting any irritation on this toe box. I'm going to say this is a pretty wide toe box, especially for a Hoka shoe. Now the build quality in this thing is really, really nice. Right, so in our outsole here, so we've got lots and lots of rubber coverage, as you can see there. So it's screaming out daily trainer vibes with the amount of rubber that it's got on this shoe. So it's quite thick as well. Now this rubber compound is soft as well, so it's actually complementing the ride. It's not making it slappy at all. So a bit of a tacky, sticky type grip here. No complaints from me. Durability for me, it's too early to tell, but I've tried it out obviously just in dry conditions, so I haven't tried it out in the wet. Also, what you can see there, if you look through the outsole, we've got a window in the middle of the shoe, bit of a crevice there. You can see some of that exposed carbon plate, and also the midsole foam there. But overall, no real dramas with the outsole so far. Right, so in our midsole here, so they've got a bit going on here. So all the tech has been thrown into this midsole. So firstly, what they've got is they've got their super foam. So they've got a P-butt footbed. So that's going all the way from the rear to the front of the shoe. So giving you some squish and some bounce and some responsiveness type feel. And then under that, they have got a convex carbon plate. Now this carbon plate is not your usual carbon plate. It's actually in the shape of a H. So it's going to be not as rigid as a full carbon plate. So it's going to have a little bit of flexibility to the left and to the right. Also, under that, then they have got the carrier foam. That's their supercritical EVA foam. That's the carrier foam that actually holds everything together. So that's all that white stuff that you can see. Now, geometry-wise as well, we've got some rocker geometry, so a 4-foot rocker geometry. But this one, for a Hoka shoe, it's actually quite late. So usually Hoka have got the early stage meta rocker where it starts back here a little bit. But on this one, it's actually up towards the front of the shoe. So it actually feels quite late through the foot strike. And in the ride, well, I'm certainly not getting any plushness. So for me, I was quite surprised with how firm the shoe was. It's not overly firm, but it is a lot firmer than what I thought it was going to be. So very solid shoe, very stable shoe. And the cushion to me actually feels more or very similar to the Nimbus 25. So it's got that really dense, feeling that FF Blast Eco gave. So not much bounce and pop, but very, very cushioned, very safe, no road feel. So it's got that vibe. It has got a little bit of bounce and cush, like I can feel that PEBA, that super foam in it, just a little bit, but not that much. So I'm definitely not sinking into the shoe. That's not cloud-like, it's not mushy, it's not soft. Obviously think it's obviously engineered for the long run. That's why it's probably a little bit more firmer. But I think obviously it's going to take some break-in as well. What I do need to mention is certainly how high you are off the ground. So it's a really tall stack, and because you don't sink into it much. And for those people that tend to pronate, over-pronate a little bit, if you catch this shoe wrong, you may tip over and you may roll your ankle pretty badly, or if you catch some uneven ground. So you need to be careful with this one as well. But yeah, overall, not soft, squishy. I'm not getting any plushness. The rocker itself, it's surprisingly more aggressive than what I thought it was. As I said earlier on, it is late, a bit of a late rocker, so you're up on your toe, and it does like to tick the legs over quite aggressively. But it's certainly not a fast shoe. It doesn't feel responsive. It's definitely not built for speed, this shoe. So likes in this shoe so far is certainly the fit. So this is the first Hoka shoe that I've gone true to size in that hasn't been too narrow. And also really like the concept of what Hoka are trying to do here. I love a big tall stack. I love some super foam, and I also love a really rocketed shoe. So what I'm still figuring out in this shoe is the ride. So I need to work out what's going on with this ride. How do I get that plushness feeling? How do I get the legs ticking over? I'm sure there's a bit of magic in this shoe, and I'm sure it's going to be quite enjoyable. I just need to work out how to use it properly. And dislikes in this shoe is certainly the price. $370 is way too much for this shoe. Right, so overall, my first thoughts in this shoe is, yeah, it's obviously going to be designed for those long days on your legs. So those long runs, I can tell this max stack, they've got the carbon plate in it, they've got the rocker. It's obviously just built to save the legs and tick the legs over. So I think it's going to be a great long run shoe once I think it breaks in a little bit. So I do think it's going to take a little bit of time to break in to get that soft plushness out of the shoe, which I haven't found yet, as I've just said. Yeah, definitely not a speed day shoe. So this one is definitely going to be reserved for your daily miles and your long runs. What I think it's going to be good at, it's probably going to serve you well, those people that are going through your marathon block and you got lots of time on legs. This one obviously is going to provide great protection for that. Lots of protection from the pounding on the road. It'll probably get you through a couple of marathon blocks. I think the durability in this shoe is going to be excellent. Even if this outsole wears out or this midsole flattens out a little bit, there's still enough protection there to save your legs. So yeah, so probably going to get lots and lots of miles out of this shoe. Yeah, my initial feelings are probably a little bit disappointed. I want a little bit more magic, a little bit more bounce out of it. It really does remind me of just an oversized Nimbus 25 or 26, because it's really got that same feeling of that FF Blast Eco that I just can't shake off. But this one is obviously like $100 more expensive. So, but anyway, fingers crossed, it's going to come good. I'm going to get some life out of this shoe. But anyway, guys, that is it from me. Love to hear your thoughts of my first impressions of this shoe. If you've got any experience in this shoe, feel free to share your experience in this shoe. Any questions, drop them in the comments below. But that's it from me. Thanks for watching. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.